people would look kindly on my reasons for marrying Philip. Neither love, nor money, nor his title induced me to accept his proposal. Yet, as I look across the spans of Aegean Sea, filling the view from my villa's balcony, I cannot doubt that it was a surprisingly good decision. It appears to be a rather happy beginning of the first in the series of books by Tasha Alexander, the books about Lady Emily Ashton. This one is called And Only to Deceive, and what follows is a story of a woman attempting to reinvent herself and bend conventions in, of all the places, 19th century England, where such attempts were never looked upon kindly. After this seemingly mild and happy beginning, we find out that Lady Emily is in fact a young widow whose husband, who she barely knew, died mere months after they got married. And so her marriage, her life, everything has to be reconsidered as she's left alone to grieve for her husband, as was expected of her in that period of time. And that expectation that she should just sit there, wear black and go nowhere and just bemoan her fate causes her to revolt. She starts bending convention by something rather small, innocuous. She decides that she would like to drink port instead of sherry. Sherry was the acceptable drink of the ladies at the time, and port was reserved for men. Then she decides she would like to start smoking cigars. She befriends an American heiress who is rather scandalous. The girl in question actually manages to hoodwink her parents into letting her go to college. Unheard of. Lady Emily travels to Paris, where she befriends another person equally outside of the conventional society. And the last but not the least, when she realizes that her husband has in fact been murdered, she takes upon herself the investigation of this case. In the meantime, she also works with the museums of antiquities. She collects antiquities, she traces them down, she donates them to museums. She studies Greek, much to everybody's very scandalous reaction, and so on. And that is just book one. Tasha Alexander's Lady Emily novels are definitely from the pleasure read category, but they're not just that. They're very intelligent. They're amazingly detailed, so you can truly feel yourself in the setting, in the locations, among the people of the time. She introduces us to a lot of the aspects of the society, not just in England, but all over Europe, that we would have never thought about, including the questions of love and marriage and convention and women's activities that were considered acceptable at the time. In the books that follow, Lady Emily gets to investigate more cases, some of them involving fraud, some of them involving theft, and some of them plainly involving murder or planned murder. She gets to go to Paris, to Vienna, to Constantinople, to Normandy, all over the place, and every time in every book she's taken a little bit further out of her comfort zone. She has to push her envelope a little bit more. Does Lady Emily enjoy being a woman of means? By all means, pun intended. Does she enjoy her Worth dresses? Absolutely. Does she enjoy her jewels? Absolutely. But she equally enjoys her libraries and her books and her research and her ability to connect facts that most people cannot. And at the same time, as an investigator, sort of a detective, it is a development process for her, because at some point she's constricted by her own notions of what sort of a person would commit a crime. At some point she tells her friend that somebody can't possibly be a criminal because he's a gentleman. as she finds out later, plenty of gentlemen and ladies of society with perfectly good upbringing and education are just as perfectly capable of a crime. It is a delightful series of books. They are available on Amazon. They're available on Barnes & Noble. I'm not sure if they're available on any of the e-devices yet, but I strongly suggest looking up the Nook and Kindle versions. I bought all of my copies at Barnes & Noble and have been enjoying them tremendously. And ladies, if you think this is strictly a chick read, think again, because after the first book, my husband and I actually had to fight as to who gets to read the next one first. So definitely a wonderful read. Now that the holidays are coming, I would strongly recommend just getting the entire series and just checking out with it under a nice blanket with a nice cup of hot cocoa or whatever you prefer, or a nice shot of port. Just get good port, because Lady Emily wouldn't approve of bad port. And just sit down and just enjoy it, because it is really, really, truly enjoyable writing by a very bright, intelligent, and thorough author. I, for one, am looking forward very much to the next Lady Emily installment by Tasha Alexander. Until next time, this is Ms. Review Central, Maria Kay. Bye.